Some teammates said 60, some said as many as 70 beers.
Which, to be honest, is an absolutely insane amount of beer. Nobody can drink that much.
Not with an attitude like that.
Chicken Philly? So we're box style.
Welcome back to the Night Pod Cometh, where we talk about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I am Magnum Mills. I am here with the Soupdeucer. We are doing a bit of a throwback thing. We are loving it. We're here to do a classic, the Gang Beats Boggs, Season 10, Episode 1. Soup, I have never tried to drink 71 beers on a plane and or in airports, but I appreciate a good drinking contest. I appreciate some baseball references. Love me the Wade Boggs, who, as of we are recording this, he is still alive. So I'm looking forward to all parts of this. How about yourself, man? You ready to try to beat Boggs?
Yeah, for sure, man. I remember this episode being one of the, one of my favorites, one that kind of really got me into the show when I first watched it. There were several, that I did like, but this was like, a kind of a pivotal episode for me. So it was I don't think I've seen it in, several years. So it was a good throwback, and it definitely, held up very well. Also, there's a lot that I had forgotten about it, so watching it again was pretty cool. A lot of little moments in there, and it was just all front to back solid episode, man. And no, I don't think I've ever drank 71 beers either in one sitting, but I remember doing the old hour power where you do a shot every minute or whatever. But it's still not 71.
Like Century. It was like 5.5 beers in 100 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it's not it's definitely nowhere near 71. So that is a tall task, but
maybe Andre the Giant could do it. Point being, if you could do it, I don't know that you could still remember it. Although maybe again, Andre the Giant, he's probably the exception of the rule though. And there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of it sucks, but hopefully we will be the exception to the rule. This is the Night Pod Cometh. Thank you very much for checking out the show. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find our content wherever you get your podcast, on the YouTube, or on social media and the web at Dudes Watch Stuff. Very easy, very simple to find. Try to keep it nice and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe if you had the fun. Please hit the thumb, and please be aware that even though this is an episode from Season 10 of It's Always Sunny, there will be full spoilers for all episodes. I don't think that we will spoil very much, but there is a possibility it could happen. So if you don't know, now you know.
Right, man. Everything's on the table, dude. Everything's on the table.
Just on the soup
71
like
beers and a suitcase full of 100 beers.
Somewhere there's a Blues Brothers kind of, you know what I mean? Like we got 100 beers in a suitcase, or like a Fear and Loathing thing. There's some cross of all of that in there.
That's right.
Like a nice cross cutting between all that. So
Let's do this thing.
this is the Gang Beats Boggs, Season 10, Episode 1, the 105th overall episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Originally aired January 14th, 2015. Directed by Todd Bierman, longtime director, very prolific director of the show. Written by Dave and John Chernin. Guest starring Wade Boggs as Wade Boggs, Jennifer Elise Cox as Lizzie, and Emily Watson as Flight Attendant. Co-starring Kareem Ferguson as Young Husband, Jerry Hawk as Boss Hog, and Jamie Landau as Frat Boy. The short plot synopsis is the gang attempts to beat a record set by Wade Boggs by consuming more than 70 beers on a cross-country flight. Soup, we've already touched on this a little bit. Kind of overall thoughts here. You've talked about this being one of the episodes that got you into the show. After having maybe got into it that way and rewatching it, do you think this is a good episode to show people, you're a fan of Sunny, you want to get a newbie, you want to bring a virgin into the pack here, you want to pop their cherry, you think this is a good cherry popper?
Yeah, I think it is, man. Yeah, without question. There's a couple others at this point, seeing, I like to think at least most of them. I still might have missed a couple here and there, but I feel like I've seen pretty much all of them. But yeah, I think this is definitely one in that top handful of, when we show you this episode to see if you want to, continue watching this show. And I feel like this is one of those that would probably convince people to watch the show.
Yeah, like while I think an episode like Charlie Work or even Nightman Cometh are better episodes, they might not be better to get a virgin in. I've always kind of liked the Thunder Gun Express. That was a fun one for me. The Gang Rustles for the Troops. There's always a couple of fun ones where you can kind of just jump people in. I think this works pretty well overall for that. And over on IMDb, this is rated at 8.7. That puts it somewhere between like 45th and 50th. So in the kind of like the top third of Sunny episodes. Does that feel about right for you? It's better than top half. Maybe you get up to like top quarter, but it's not like that top 10%. Does that feel about right?
Yeah, it's definitely right there for sure, man. I'd put it in the upper tier, but yeah, there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot to compare it to. So yeah, I mean, that's probably about right.
I think I agree with you. Again, you're up to about 180 episodes when we're talking about this. So, that's still, very, very rare air. I really love this episode personally. I reference it constantly, both the idea of the Wade Boggs story and just some of the stuff that is said in it. Like, I love Dee's little pop soda. It's not pop soda. She does her little dance there. I've done that before. Like, I definitely have used a little bit of the Mantis Toboggan stuff. They're just stuff in real life that I kind of come back to in this, like the Wade Boggs style, like a chicken in Philly. I say those things. Almost nobody understands, but when they do, I understand that they are an awesome person, not a jabroni. And so kind of, anything else that overall you take away from this one, if someone was getting into Sunny, what would you tell him? And just, do you think they incorporated the idea of this kind of, I guess semi, fantastical story about Wade Boggs into this, bottle episode, really?
Yeah, they definitely took it and ran with it, gang style for sure. But there was not, I mean, the premise in the episode was based around that, but there was a lot of little things that happened during the episode here that were, also very important, and funny and intriguing, and just little side stories, man. I'm sure we'll get into as we dissect this thing, but just the like Dennis's like vision on things, and Mac being the commissioner, and Charlie just being Charlie, and I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things about this episode that were good outside of just the contest.
Right, you nailed it. They picked this particular premise, but then they deploy everybody perfectly within it. Everybody is very true to who their characters are here. This is like peak Sunny in terms of, maybe not final game of where their characters end up, with them understanding exactly like, oh, we've been doing this for a while now. We know who these people are, and it's basically flawless throughout. I mean, you get kind of like Psycho scheming Dennis, like you mentioned, Max doing his controlling thing, even know what he wanted him to. You get even a little Mantis Toboggan in there. I think everything here is great, including the baseball references. They're a little bit broad, but if you are a fan of baseball, it does work for you. And I thought the way they use the baseball song was great here, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. Everything kind of fit right in play there, man. And I don't know. I don't think there's one thing that was wrong or questionable about the way this episode, like on every level, was put together. Not even just the dialogue and the acting, just the basic format of it and everything was kind of like flawless.
Yeah, they just pushed it to, I guess, watching everything. That's maybe the best compliment I get. It feels logical based on the gang. If they were really doing this, it all plays out, I guess, the way I think it would. There are a couple of unbelievable things, if there were any kind of air marshals or anything like that. A lot of this probably would have gotten shut down at some point, but for the most part, I think it is incredibly well done. Let's dive deeper into the episode. It's 9:30 a.m. on a Thursday. We see the gang boarding a plane, drinking beers at a tremendous pace. We learn that they're trying to break the beer drinking record of Wade Boggs, who, for the record, is very much alive. This requires drinking more than 70 beers during a cross-country flight. Mac will be acting as a commissioner because he lost the chugging contest. Soup, this is, about all the setup we get. It's about the first 2, 3 minutes of the episode. Again, if you were just diving in, whatever, do they do enough here to set up everything you need to know?
Um, yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry anyway, so it's yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I could really elaborate on that because it is kind of spelled out right there. Hey, man, this is what we're doing, dude.
But that's good though, because they could be kind of complicated. I think they do a really good job of clarifying it here. So you don't have to worry about it too much. You just kind of dropped in. It's a season premiere. Hopefully you're getting some new viewers. So we're in a new place. Everything I think works here. In Super, one thing I'm not sure about, what do you think the difference in your life would be if more things were decided by a chugging contest? Do you think it would help you, hurt you, or it'd still be kind of neutral?
It would probably, honestly, it would probably hurt. Yeah. If I were involved in all of the chugging contests, and I probably, I mean, nothing good's really going to come out of that. That's, we're not playing rock, paper,
Well,
scissors.
you got to make a decision. You're back in the kitchen. It's like, you versus somebody. You have equal authority. How do you decide it? Chugging contest. If that was the way things were decided, you think that would help you or hurt you?
I think it'd be mostly entertaining, but I think it would hurt. I don't think it'd be helpful very much. I like rock, paper, scissors when there's people like to decide on something, rock, paper, scissors, and that's the most, best 2 out of 3. It's the best way to go. It's fun. It's better than flipping a coin. But I tell people like, hey man, one of y'all can leave. What do you want to do? Figure it out. Rock, paper, scissors. Fucking flip a coin, kick each other in the nuts. Whatever you want to do, figure it out. But rock, paper, scissors seems to be the best play. And now I haven't offered the chugging contest before yet, but I don't know if I really could, being that they're on the clock. I'd have to have them both off the clock for that. But either way, those are the particulars. But yeah, I don't know. The chugging contest would be the play, man.
It sounds like you've thought about this a little bit, which I like. That's very fair. I think if it was more of a sustained drinking contest, I would have some advantage, but I'm not really like a chugger. I've definitely seen people who could like do a 3 beer funnel or something and walk it off,
Oh
or
yeah.
people chug a tall boy. I've definitely seen not even shotgunning it, like just chug like a tall boy, not pre-wide mouth even. So I'm not a great chugger, but I at least think I would be neutral. I don't think it would absolutely kill me. And going into this, if you didn't know who wins at the end, who would you thought of the gang was best suited to win this drinking contest?
I would probably have thought Charlie anyway. Although D held up pretty good. Dennis, I just didn't see it. I just didn't see him hanging in there for the entire thing. And then and Frank, man, I think he has the heart, but I don't think he's got the capacity in his age to, pound 70 beers, although he put up a pretty good fight too. But actually he was pretty low. He was down like 40. He was like
He just forgot. Frank had other priorities, though. He's trying to join
yeah.
the Air Sex Society. So
Right, yeah. I think he lacked the attachment by the giving a shit as much, where Charlie and D were really all in.
if we were giving them odds, I think Charlie would have been the odds-on favorite. I think Dennis was probably the disappointment because I might have gone with him as second.
Yeah, yeah. I think if he were more, focused on it and really wanted to win it, then maybe he would have tried a little bit harder. But I don't think he fully bought into it.
If Mac had participated, do you think he would have had any chance, especially considering he placed last in the chugging contest? I feel like he'd at least beat Frank.
Yeah, I think he'd land somewhere in the middle there, man. And maybe if there was some kind of fluke or some kind of weird event, then maybe he could take the lead. But he would definitely be a contender. Yeah.
One of my favorite bits, there's a lot of great dialogue in the episode, but early on when Mac's kind of laying stuff out and Dennis is like, that's an insane amount of beers. Let's be honest. No one can drink that much. And Frank's like, no, not with an attitude like that.
Yeah,
That's the can-do attitude we like around here, right, Sue?
absolutely.
Nice setup for the runners. We got Boss Hog. We got Charlie thinking Wade Boggs is dead. I love the bit where Mac kind of, when someone presses the call button for the flight attendant and Mac just shows up like, no, we're going to be sharing the call button. That is just so funny that they just insert themselves in there. And then I don't know how the beers are this cold on a plane, especially when they come out of the suitcase, but the physical comedy of Caitlin Olsen when she's trying to chug the beers and acting like they're really cold is fantastic.
That's a good point, man. Especially the suitcase beer. It's like towards the end there when Frank, is chugging one. He's like, it's so cold or whatever. Like, how is that thing still cold? I didn't even think about that in the moment.
So it's new cans. If you look, they're almost completely blue. I think they used to be sponsored by Coors. Like I don't think they are this season, but it looks like kind of like the Coors Light with the blue mountains there, but the whole can is blue. So somehow maybe that's what they should be selling. Whatever technology they invented to keep things that cold.
Right.
Then we get our first score update here. D is at 29 beers, Charlie's at 13, Dennis 10, Frank 8. So at least fairly close. Dennis makes a bet with Frank that he will have sex on the plane somewhere other than the bathroom before they hit the Great Lakes. D appears to pass out, but rallies thanks to popping some greenies. Meanwhile, Charlie enjoys a chicken with a rum and coke. Soup, we'll start out with the most important question here. Which is cooler? Which would you rather be a part of, assuming that the cost of entry was the same? The Air Sex Society or the Mile High Club?
Well, I think everybody knows about the Mile High Club, and that's kind of like common knowledge. So I'll go with the Air Sex Society because it's you're gonna get questioned. What is that, man? So, but is that a good thing or a bad thing? So then you got to explain. But it still seems a little bit more set apart, more unique. So I'm with it.
And you know what you say when they ask you to explain? You say, I'm in that ass, that ASS, that Air Sex Society. See, if you're in it, you get your ass card.
All up in that ass, dude.
Way better than Mile High Club, right? So I don't know if Sonny's the first one to make that gag, but I am definitely there for it. In Soup, have you ever been in a place where you've encountered a drink limit like this? Usually, I think I've encountered it at most sporting events, possibly, maybe a concert where it's like 2 beers, 2 drinks, whatever per person. But have you ever been in a place where you ask for something and like no one has ever asked for that many before?
How many beers are we allowed to order at once?
I'm not sure. No one has ever asked that before.
Okay, great. So there's no rule on that.
I don't think so. No. I know that people can get cut off. It happens pretty much anywhere if somebody's obviously drinking too much. It's kind of like a law or whatever. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been limited.
Yeah, just the idea that Mac thinks he is the Bud Selig of the group is fun. He has just kind of assigned himself this role to the point where when D is taking greenies, obviously a little bit of a baseball reference, like, nah, we're just going to sweep that under the rug. And dude, how fun is it when Charlie, Mac comes over, he's eating a full chicken, and he's just like, yo, can I get a rum and coke? Mac's like, dude, it's a beer drinking contest. I know, but
Why are you filling up with chicken?
Do you know anything about Wade Boggs? The man ate a chicken before every game, all right? That's why they called him a chicken man. Man, about 328 lifetime. I'm sure he ate some rum and cokes too, all right?
that's what Wade Boggs did, and he's right. Wade Boggs was very superstitious. He really did eat a chicken every day, and he was called the Chicken Man. So I think that adds a nice level to it, and also I think makes Charlie's ultimate win even a little bit more impressive.
Yeah, man. If you're gonna drink 70 beers, eat a chicken, and throw rum and coke in there. I mean, like, it's hard. It's hard to drink that much fluids of any kind, and then then you get full on, 'cause it makes you get, especially beer, like it fills you up, dude. It's hard to eat like a whole chicken and drink 70 beers or 20 beers even. So
Again, 70 beers, that's I think Charlie points out at some point, it's like over like 6 gallons.
it's yeah.
It's one of those things when you start putting in context how much it actually is. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
man. I mean, you think about like, man, 6 gallons of gasoline right now is like $100, so, or more. I don't know.
It's at least a pony keg.
Yeah.
Bare minimum of pony keg. And I don't know if it was a Fear and Loathing reference. It wasn't carved on her forehead, but at one point Mac does draw a little 29 on D's forehead. Not carved in his
Yeah,
Z,
pulling
but-
on Dennis too. Yeah. You're out.
I loved when they're out. I love the whole idea of the white t-shirts with the actual just the tracking system on that. That makes it for a great cosplay too. Like if you want to do something real cheap, you look anything like the Sunny Crew. It's a real cheap cosplay that would be a lot of fun. I love Dee's little comeback dance here.
Mama needs another pop, pop, poppity pop, soda pop, soda pop. What are you doing? I'm dancing around like a jackass. Wade Boggs would roll in his grave if he could see your behavior.
That's just Caitlin Olsen being great, and I've used that sometimes. I'm definitely like, even though I'm like, hey, Mama needs another pop soda. People look at me like, what are you talking about? Oh, I'm like, me, the dude over here with like 1 beer, please. I mean, Wade Boggs would roll in his grave if he could see it, but he is definitely still alive.
Right.
Then we're over Illinois. D is now at 33 beers. Charlie's back at 17. Dennis 12. Frank is at 10. They're worried about their beer supply, so Frank slips the little college dude, frat guy here, some sleeping pills. Mac tries to create a Sosa McGuire-like rivalry between D and Charlie, but it fails. Dee commandeers the in-flight intercom, causing the gang to get cut off. Luckily, Mac has checked a bag containing 100 beers. Soup, you've mentioned it. This is where we get the Dennis sequence. It's kind of like Sherlock, where he zeroes in. Like Frank wants to join the Air Sex Society. Dennis makes a bet and he tells him how he's going to do it. There's like 209 people on the plane, like so many chicks and only one. He explains all the criteria, but of course, ironically, he winds up banging the chick that Frank had pointed out. I loved everything about this. I love all the creepy Dennis stuff. I don't want, I'm not pro creep, but the way they do it with Dennis, sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's not. I thought all this was outstanding, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, just yeah, him explaining, given the whole, his what is it? I'm trying to think of the right word there, man. His perception on things, and it's hilarious that it works out the other way because he has this one like completely nailed, but he notices also those little things, kind of like a usual suspects kind of situation. You just see all the little random whatnots in it, and they all fall into play, like the wedding ring thing and just all the little shit. So he's got that all locked down, man. And then he ends up with the other chick that he said was like too far beneath him, you know.
Oh yeah, she had a road rash, whatever, North Dakota trash through
Yeah.
and through. Blouses covered in cigarette burns, like very very specific. I love the idea that Mac lost the chugging contest, and they didn't actually make him Bud Selig. Like he was just out, and then he made himself into Bud Selig. That feels like perfectly on point, on character for Mac. In Soup as kind of '90s dudes, you gotta love that they're referencing Executive Decision and Passenger 57, right? Neither were dubs, or anything, but they weren't like huge hits or anything. But they definitely tell you can travel on a wide DC-10 very easily, undetected if you just find the hatch or whatever.
Yeah, what was that one that was like, I mean, it wasn't Under Siege, but basically, yeah, kind of something like that. Wasn't there an airplane under siege kind of thing? Or maybe that was Passenger 57.
Con Air, there's one with Ray Liotta. I think that was Turbulence. There's literally,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a popular genre.
It wasn't snakes on the plane though.
It was not Snakes on a
No
Plane.
snakes. I didn't see any snakes. Yeah.
And shout out Dennis, he does still have an eye for fashion. He shouted out that the chick he was creeping on in 44G had a blouse from the 2012 J. Crew Spring collection.
He is extremely observant. Yeah.
Well, and he, back in when he had the Aluminum Monster versus Fatty Magoo, when he thought he was going to be a designer and they were running the sweatshop and everything. So that's, I think, probably a little bit of callback to that. And Soup, what would you prefer if you had to watch one? Executive Decision, Passenger 57?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with Snipes, dude. I'm gonna go with 57.
Always bet on black.
I think I am too. I just love Executive Decision, not only for the Oliver Platt of it all, but for it just killing off Steve Seagal early. So sorry if I spoiled Executive Decision for you.
Ooh, we didn't even warn him about that.
Didn't warn him about that one. Next up, we're getting into Missouri. D is now at 41 beers. Charlie's at 32. Dennis is at 19. Frank is at 13. Max sneaks below to retrieve his stash of beers, and he witnesses Dennis hooking up with the North Dakota trash chick Frank pointed out earlier. The college dude Frank drug passes out, and Frank attempts to help him in character as Dr. Mantis Toboggan. But it doesn't take long for the flight attendant to call him out. Dennis tells Frank that he won the bet, but his new lady friend is already calling Dennis her boyfriend. It's maybe one of the most ironic things. I'm not sure if we use irony correctly, but maybe a little of a bit of an Alanis alert here. Like we're mad at Frank because he only drank 13 beers.
I mean, given the magnitude of the competition, I guess that's kind of like, not even sizing up to being close to, so in that regard, yeah, it's like, but, any normal person on any given day, if you drank 13 beers, it's like, oh shit, man, you drank 13 beers, so.
And Frank Reynolds is a smaller person, so that's
right,
a
yeah,
lot, I feel.
You got to factor that in too. He's only like.
He's smaller and older. Like that's,
Yeah.
that's I think it's, it's not impressive, but it's at least, it's solid at least. It's upper tier. He's not maybe the top 1%, but he's in the top 10%. I think one thing we learned about Frank, he shows up here as Dr. Mantis Toboggan, and he's trying to fix the mess that he made. He's like, all right, you got to give me some aspirin, a roll of duct tape, a bag of peanuts, and 4 beers. I think it's official, right? Frank Reynolds, he's a MacGyver smoker.
The MacGyver smoker is a very handy guy to have around, especially when it comes to reefer.
Hey man, we're out of papers.
All right, then get me a toilet paper roll, a corkscrew, and some tin foil.
We don't have a corkscrew.
All right, then get me an avocado, an ice pick, and my snorkel. Trust me, bro, I've made bongs with less. Hurry up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Anytime you throw duct tape in there and random, gadgets and whatnot, then yeah, you're MacGyvering it big time.
It goes against what we've seen a little bit, but I still never forget. I forget what episode it opens. Maybe Sweet Dia's Art Attack, where he's smoking the bong and he's just smoking. He's like, download me a hoagie off the internet. That's still one of just my favorite kind of random whatnots. And one of my favorite scenes here is definitely him pretending to be Mantis Toboggan, he's saving the dude, and then he's pretending to be a pilot. Everything about that is so good. Like, one time some broad just chewed through the fuselage. And then the chick calls him out, the flight attendant calls him out. It's like, oh, you've had 14 beers. How do you know that? It's written on your shirt.
They're on the shirt, man. Yeah, he acted that really well too, man. He definitely seemed like he drank about 14 beers,
And everything about this is just so good. Like, Frank is still trying to get laid, so he posts up in the bathroom. And then when all the shit goes down, Mac, the commissioner, what does he do? You see him, and he's literally just hiding in the back. Because, of course, he is. Because that's what Mac would do. But shout out to Dennis, dude. He might not be hitting home runs every time, but he is squeaking it through multiple holes.
Multiple holes. Yeah, man. Get in where you can fit in, dude.
You gotta do what you gotta do. We're approaching North Dakota, and D is still comfortably ahead at 53 beers. Charlie is within double digits at 44. Dennis and Frank trail at 19 and 15, respectively. Then Charlie is visited by the ghost of Wade Boggs, who inspires him to win the contest. Not to be outdone, D is visited by Boss Hog, who inspires her not to give up. The plane lands in North Dakota, where the college dude and Dennis depart. Dennis found out that the girl was desert trash, not Great Plains trash, so he'd rather be in North Dakota than on the plane. This is a full-on, it's not quite a sports movie here, but if you had to pick who gave the more inspirational speech, is it Wade Boggs or Boss Hog?
Oh man, that's pretty close, dude. I'm gonna have to go with Boggs though, although it was nice to see a Boss Hog hallucination as well. But yeah, Boggs. Yeah.
It's got to be Boggs, especially because Charlie Day did say that everybody else except Boggs drank fake beer, and Boggs actually drank a real beer, which I feel is like, that's perfect, right? That's exactly how it should be. Boss Hog was fun, though. And maybe even the best part, not only the fact that he was just so upset about, his Hazard County schemes, is that when you cut back to what D actually sees, and it's that same dude who's been sitting next to her, just great face acting by that dude. His reactions were awesome. Like, he's just like, what the hell are you doing, lady?
The whole episode, man. He just had that look, dude. It was fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah, don't discount kind of the value of the kind of background actors, the smaller actors like that. They add a lot to it sometimes. Dude was perfect. Now we're nearing California with D and Charlie tied at 66 beers. Dennis is out. Frank is stuck on 18. By the time we hit LAX, Frank is officially out. Charlie and D are both at 70. They both manage to chug number 71, but D passes out on the luggage carousel. Mac and Charlie go to a baseball field where Charlie goes 1 for 4 at the plate to complete the challenge, and Mac declares him the winner. It's time to grab a red-eye back to Philly, but first, Mac really like to grab a beer. Do you like the way this ended? I mean, you bring back we're talking baseball. To me, it's almost perfect. They got chicken in Philly. What do now? And dude, just Caitlin Olsen, her physical acting's always great. The way she is passed out on that luggage carousel, like ass up, that is, I mean, Charlie covered his beer-soaked shirt. Everything about this it sings for me. I love this ending.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Just like everything about Charlie. Like, I mean, 70 beers. I don't know if he'd be standing at all, but the fact that he was, just, I mean, his everything he was saying, and even the way he was moving around, it seemed like, man, he definitely is a intoxicated person right there now. 70 beers might be, hospitalized, but case of beer or something, you can see somebody acting like that for sure. But he did a great job, and he fucking roped that one too, man.
Oh, I think that was a legit swing. Charlie Day was definitely like a really good athlete, even on Welcome to Wrexham at one point, like the actual, it's the documentary show with the soccer team with Rob Mack. But he shows up there and they have some drinks and they have like a little like foot race at the end. And Charlie Day has always been like a pretty athletic dude. I think he actually played baseball at D3 or something like that. So you could tell a little bit. But like you said, man, just the physical acting on it. But I think the idea that it takes another level when they just start subtitling Charlie is perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, you can kind of understand it's a little bit like Kenny in South Park, maybe, but I just, again, the directorial choice is just perfect. The idea that Mac is like, after all this, like, dude, can we just go somewhere so I can have a beer now? I'd
Yeah,
love
I'm
to
sure
see
you
that.
want
That would have been a great like just stinger at the end, right? Like 10 seconds of just Charlie like kind of like passed out almost at the bar, and Mac just like drinking, having a good time or something. I don't know. That give me the hot dog, baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Props to Mac for being sober that entire time. I'm sure he was ready for a fucking beer, dude.
And again, I'm guessing no one told him he had to be sober.
Ah, yeah.
That's just him, he wanted to be the commissioner. That's the deal. Comes with the territory. All right, man. I think we have landed the plane. Let's move on to the award tour. We usually start out with the alternate episode titles. I have to say, the Gang Beats Boggs is almost perfect. I'll throw out a couple of fun ones here, but I don't expect to beat it. First, we have Frank's on a plane. It's just the closest to Snakes on a plane, so that's kind of fun. And then we have Boss Hog versus Boggs. Just sounds cool if you make somebody say it fast. Then we have a little bit of a baseball thing. Sosa McGuire 2, Reynolds versus Kelly. And then finally, probably the one that would just be most fun if I saw it randomly before the episode aired. Dennis joins the Air Sex Society. Soup, I don't think any of these can beat the gang, the Gang Beats Boggs, but do any stand out as okay to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to size up to that, man. I mean, any one of them would have been a cool, like, I'll watch that episode if I knew that was the title. But just because of what I know about it, I think it's hard to beat the Gang Beats Boggs, man. A high altitude something would be cool. I can't figure out that last word. Like high altitude something would be maybe, but I don't know. I mean, it's like again, I don't think there's any way to beat what it is. So.
High altitude sex society, but has just doesn't quite work as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They did it. I mean, this is the best title. So we're not fighting uphill. We're just committed to the bit. Next up on the award tour, we have our favorite quote from the Gang Beats Bog. Soup, who's your favorite quote from this one?
I'm just going with something that seems to make sense here, and that's Charlie saying,
About 328 lifetime. I'm sure you ate some rum and cokes too, all right?
You just said 8 rum and cokes. You're getting a little buzz. You shouldn't be drinking hard alcohol.
I said 1 rum and coke. Just 1, please. Make it a double, though.
if you're eating a rum and coke, the way Charlie says, you're eating a rum and coke. Maybe it was a chicken, maybe it was a rum and coke, but either way, that was a great quote, and I think that's when he first started fucking up his words.
Charlie can handle this, and it ultimately sets up the very end of that. There are so many good ones. I would love to go maybe with Boss Hog, just because I love the way the actor played it. Like, my crooked hasn't counted schemes. He took it almost like the Southern accent to a ridiculous level, and it made me laugh my ass off. But I think I'm actually going to go with a small Charlie quote here, where after D tries to commandeer the in-flight intercom, and the stewardess cuts him off, the flight attendant cuts him off, he's like,
"The Boggs group is cut off."
Oh. What? Oh, dude, that's not good. I can't stop drinking now. I'll probably die, dude.
Right.
I think we've all felt that way before at a certain point where, like, I mean, they're on a drinking contest. He's on a good one. He is having rum and cokes just, casually. And now it's like, oh no, you're done. You're cut off. I can see that being a shock to the system, dude. So that's not good for Charlie. Next up, we have our favorite scene or moment from the episode. Soup, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm just going to go with the inspirational speeches. Boss Hog, Wade Boggs, they're both awesome. Do you have one other than that?
Again, there's probably a couple I could pick here, but the one that's poking out at me right now is just when when Mac is down in the luggage compartment there, got the beer here, somebody come down, and just the surprise element of it is I knew it was one of I knew it was one of them, and I didn't know who right away. And he's hiding back there, and then it's Dennis and that chick, just the reveal of that, was hilarious. It was the girl that he wasn't trying to bang up there in the whatever, not the Mile High shit, the other whatever the fuck. But anyway, that and then he's and then Max goes back to like I don't know, just that whole scene was fucking hilarious to me, man.
Whatever you want to call it, when you have sex over a certain altitude. Do you think that Dennis knew Mac was down there? We heard him say similar things about knowing that area or shortcut or whatever existed. He kind of gives a look right where Mac is ducked in there. I don't know. I've rewatched this a bunch of times. As I was watching it really close this time to take notes for it, and and it really right. Sometimes I forget that the chick just, oh, can you mind if I take a pill? And then she crushes it up and bumps.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's like, oh yeah, that's happening now. But the look he gives when he first gives out, I swear to God, like he knows Mac is down there going for that beer. I don't know. Am I nuts? Did you get any vibe of that?
No, I think so too. I mean, Dennis is very observant, man. Like, so if he didn't know Mac was in there, I think that would be a fail on his part. But what even makes that better is that he knew he was in there. So he also probably had to put on a show, be like, man, I'm being watched, so I got to put on a show here. So, and there's nowhere for Mac to go. He's got to sit there and watch.
If he probably loved it. I mean, Mac was the one who used to watch it. This is sex tapes. So this all tracks, I think. Like I really think this all tracks. So it wouldn't even mention it. Like really, when Dennis gets off the plane, it sets up the idea that he stays in North Dakota, gets a chick pregnant, and that's where he has the kid and everything when he leaves at the end of season 12, and then he comes back in 13. It's never really mentioned again, but that's where all this comes from. Is from this episode. So it does have some impact overall. Been very fun. But next on the award tour, we need to figure out who was the most fun. We have to determine our episode MVP. We do that with our 5-star people. We're going to rank our 5 favorite characters from the episode, 1 to 5 stars, 1 being the worst, but still better than being unranked, and 5 stars being our favorite man or woman, our episode MVP. Soup, I'm going to lead us off. I'm going to start out at the bottom here. I'll go 1 through 3. You can do your 1 through 3, and then we will do our top people, our 4 and 5-star people. At number 1, I have Dennis. I like it, but I feel like he kind of took an L in this episode. He didn't really win. I mean, I know he got laid. He won his bet with Frank, but other than that, he felt so bad. He felt like he had to quit the contest and get off in North Dakota. So I like Dennis. I also trying to consider the flight attendant here. She was fine. Not a lot of guest stars in this one. So I'm going Dennis 1. At 2, I'm going Mac. He was fun as the Bud Selig of it all. Gains a couple of extra points. I love that final scene with him and Charlie actually playing the baseball. At number 3, I have Frank. Not very impactful in this episode, but he does pay for everything. The stuff when he appears as Mantis Toboggan, always a classic. Whenever we get some Mantis, and then even the end, when he tries to redeem himself, he's going to chug 15 beers in a row. He makes it about halfway through one, and then he taps out. So I love Frank here. So those are my 1 through 3. I got Dennis, Mac, Frank. Soup, who do you have as your 1 through 3-star people?
Yeah, I went a little bit differently here, man, and it might seem weird, but I put D at number 1, and I know that she probably deserves to be ranked a little bit higher, and she did have a great episode, man. But for some whatever reason, I stuck with my first instinct here and left her at number 1, although she definitely was pretty stellar for most of the episode there. But and then I got Frank at number 2. For all the Frank reasons, and I mean, pretty much everything you said. He's fucking Frank, and he had a good episode too, man. Everything he did was fucking hilarious, also. And I put Mac at number 3. He kind of was right in the middle there, anyways. He was the glue guy this episode, man. And he definitely, again, I like the baseball scene a lot too. Right at the end there, he put a little mustard on that one, man.
He did. I think he's a lefty as well. Decent form. So we had a fair amount of overlap there. At number 4, I am going to go with D. Caitlin Olsen's physical comedy always kills me. Just the bit with the boss hog. I just love the way that she played the runner. You know, Charlie Day, we never really see them cut away to the other person sitting in that seat or anything. There was a little bit more, just her chugging the cold beers. I thought that was really fun, but I am putting Charlie as my 5-star man, my 5-star person, my episode MVP. So I got D4, Charlie 5. How about yourself? So who do you have at 4 and 5?
I put Dennis at 4. I know you had ranked him a lot lower, and this is probably where, I think we're exact opposites on D and Dennis on this one, because I could have easily switched them two out and put her here and Dennis at 1 for the same reasons that you mentioned. But although Dennis is weird for me, some episodes I don't really care for what he's doing as much as others, and in this episode, I don't know. It seemed like he was more in tune or whatever, and he was more, I don't know, something about this episode, just the way his observations and perceptions and shit and just his actions were spot on, Dennis. So I put him at 2. Not considering the fact that he did fail and lose the competition and everything. I didn't even consider that really, but just for his performance in the episode, I put him at I put him at 4 actually. I ranked him at 4, and then number 5 is obviously Charlie, dude. I think that's a hands down. He's the obvious choice, so.
Yeah, there's no way Charlie can't be. And I think you had some good points about Dennis in there. It's not that I dislike him in this episode. I guess I wish there would have been, it feels like his plot kind of just peters out a little bit. It's kind of fine that he just bangs the Frank chick. Maybe it's just they didn't find room for him, but I would have liked maybe for him to be more in the drinking contest, or maybe he seduces the stewardess or something. Maybe there's a little bit of a side plot. I just feel like there was more potential for Dennis here. That's all. I feel like they didn't have enough for everybody to go around in a bottle episode, and he kind of got the short shrift, which is fine. But he was very good. The Sherlock shit I enjoyed, but it's definitely kind of like classic Dennis. It's not something that we haven't gotten before or anything, but still very good.
Yeah, like I said, man, sometimes sometimes it doesn't really matter to me that much, or I don't find it that, impactful or whatever it is, or meaningful to me in the episode. I mean, I usually like whatever Dennis does, but sometimes I like him better than others, even if it is the same kind of shit he's doing. I don't know why, but this was one of those where I was like, in the moment, Dennis is a winner in this, for me, or at least he got the 4 stars for me this time.
Well, that's fair. I think some of the smaller stuff, like him calling Frank out on his bullshit, and then the bit in the hold down when he goes low, I like that better than the Sherlock stuff because it's a little bit more subtle. Just the whole him telling the chick you have no idea how weird I am, and just the weird off-putting way he plays it. Howerton is so good at that, so that's always kind of top shelf, very, very choice for me. So really enjoyed that. The final stop on the award tour is our episode grades. We grade every episode of Sunny on a scale of 0 to 100 patties bucks. Soup, you're usually pretty liberal with the patties bucks. How many can you spare for the Gang Beats Boggs?
Yeah, man, you know what? This is again, this is way up there. So, hey, man, I'm spending $93 on this one, man.
93, and I am right in that universe. I am going with 91. There are so many good episodes of Sunny. Again, it's just one of those shows, it's almost impossible. My top 10 fluctuates on a regular basis, but this is, I think, an absolute classic. It's one I would never hesitate to show to somebody you're trying to get into the show. It's well done, no complaints. So between the two of us, 93, 91, average of 92. I don't think there's any complaints about that. We appreciate you checking out this episode of the Night Pod Cometh, and we are going to be back. We do classic episodes, and we're going to be doing season 18, which is upcoming as we are recording this. Absolutely looking forward to it, and we hope you join us. The Night Pod Cometh is presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media and the web at Dudes Watch Stuff. Try to keep it as easy to remember as possible, just like those flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had the fun, please touch that thumb. On behalf of myself, Magnum Mills, the Soupdeucer, and Jamie G, who was not with us, we appreciate you checking out the show and being a fighter for the Night Pod Cometh.
Oh!